Mike Vrabel is officially the new head coach for the New England Patriots. So on today's show, we're going to break down what Vrabel had to say, how he had to tell media, fans, and really his players what he's going to bring to this franchise that desperately needs help. We were a terrible team this last season, and now that we have Mike Vrabel in the front office, I'm extremely excited to see what he is announcing to bring to the Patriots moving forward and how he is going to change the franchise, hopefully for the better. But before we do that, I am super excited that Mike Vrabel is finally the head coach here. Obviously played for New England. Now he has the opportunity to coach for New England. So if you guys are fired up with me about Mike Vrabel now being the new head coach, go on ahead, like this video for me. You never know what Mike Vrabel does. If he ends up being on YouTube, I want to see how many Patriots fans you can show him that are excited to have him in New England. And while you guys are hitting that like button, let's go on ahead and jump into my takeaways from Mike Vrabel's press conference. He went through a lot of conversation topics, but these are 5 things that I really noticed that stuck out to me as a fan of why I'm really fired up about Mike Vrabel being the head coach. Number 1, his culture is here. He is bringing a different culture to New England, and I had reserves about maybe he's going to try and take the same culture that they had when he played back in the early 2010s, try and bring that to this team and recreate something from the past. Because let's be honest, Patriots went through a lot of changes and a lot of success since Mike Vrabel had put on this uniform. A lot has changed. A lot more Super Bowls have happened since Vrabel played for New England. But the good news is it looks like Mike Vrabel wants to start over. He said, right now we're undefeated. Right now we have the opportunity to change the narrative. And I loved how he opened up his press conference saying, in the end, it was clear to me that my family and my soul, this is the place I wanted to be. We knew Mike Vrabel was the hottest candidate on the NFL head coaching market, and he wanted to be here. There were reports that showed Vrabel even told Tom Brady, look, I don't think it's even worth it interviewing for the Raiders head coaching job because I know I'm going to go back to New England. Now he's his 16th head coach in Patriots history, and I really hope we don't have another introductory press conference for the next 75 years, thanks to Mike Vrabel. But the number one thing that he said about bringing his culture to New England is he said, I want to provide a program that provides players ownership, but also their accountability to each other. One thing that I really noticed dropping off at the end of the season was that it seemed like the locker room had kind of fizzled out. You had Jelani Tavai out here yelling at fans saying they need to know their place. They need to be held accountable. There was no discipline. It was very evident last season, and I think for Mike Vrabel to say, look, these players are going to have a say, but they also need to know their place. And I'm very excited to see how the players are going to react to that moving forward, because we need to put fans back in the seats. We need the Patriots players to come in here and play for something bigger than themselves. And one thing that I love about Vrabel is that he's a player's coach. One note that Keon White had this last season that he really missed about Bill Belichick was how much of a hard ass he was. How much Bill Belichick pushed him to do better in a very tough manner. That is what Mike Vrabel is. Not comparing the two, but they do have similar personality styles. Vrabel is not afraid to get in your ass and make sure that you remember the mistake that you made. And what Vrabel wants from his players is super important moving forward because now the players know that they're playing for something bigger than themselves. They can buy into a culture that Vrabel is bringing. And he said he wants his players to know that they have to put the team first. This is no I anymore. This is a we. We win together. We lose together. You also have to know what to do on the field and off the field. That's a huge thing off the field, is to make sure that you're putting the team first. If you do that, you're not going to make some mistakes off the field that you may make if you're fighting or playing for an eye. And then lastly, play fast and aggressive. Mike Vrabel said the number one compliment you can give a coach is that your team went out there and played their asses off. And I completely agree with him. He wants these Patriots players, at the end of the day, whether it's a win or a loss, to know I put my best foot forward. And something else that I love having a former player now coaching the Patriots, look at this drill. This drill is from last offseason in the summer, working out with guys in Cleveland. Mike Vrabel literally suits up in pre-games, in practices. He puts on blocking pads to make sure that when he's working with offensive linemen or tight ends or somebody on the line of scrimmage, that he can literally give them firsthand experience and advice because he has played both sides of the football and because he's not afraid to get down and dirty. You saw that from a guy like Dan Campbell on the Hard Knocks. He was out here doing burpees in the dog days of summer with the Detroit Lions, and now look at him. They're the MVP favorites to win the Super Bowl. You got to buy it into the culture. You have to buy it in to Mike Vrabel leading you to the promised land. It may not happen this year, but I could see that happening in the future. And if you guys haven't hit that like button yet, I've already gone through 2 reasons why you should be fired up. I have 3 more. And if you are not on the Mike Vrabel train just yet, you need to be. Hit that like button for me if you guys are excited for Mike Vrabel now in New England. Like I said, I have 3 more takeaways here from Vrabel's press conference. Before I do that, let me tell you guys about Game Time. If you're looking to go see the new Patriots in New England this upcoming season, go on ahead and download Game Time. This is the #1 app that I use to get tickets to any sporting event, concert, comedy show, or maybe even the theater. Not to mention, they make great gifts for quality time, whether it's for yourself or with your friends. So if you guys want to go on ahead, download the Game Time app. What you're going to get here is the lowest price guaranteed. Your girl loves saving a buck. I spent my Saturday morning drinking coffee, couponing to go to the grocery store. So you know that I am saving money in every possible way that I can. With Game Time, you're going to get the lowest price guaranteed. You're also going to get all-in pricing. This feature shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. And with Game Time Picks, it makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. They filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. If you guys want to go ahead and get started, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of stuff. Yes, we know Vrabel wants to be here. Yes, we know he's going to bring a certain type of culture. But what is Vrabel allowed to do as the head coach? We know that the reason why he was fired from Tennessee is because he and the GM didn't really see eye to eye. Since then, the GM's also been fired. So you know that Vrabel probably had a conversation at some point in the front office saying, I want to say in what happens to this team. And that does matter when you're building a roster. He's a kid in the candy store, honestly. $130 million in cap space and a top 5 draft pick, and you already have a franchise quarterback in Drake Maye. Mike Vrabel should be the happiest guy on the planet. But who's he going to be working with, and what is he going to do? Well, Elliott Wolf right now is the interacting GM, you should say. And Elliott Wolf, there has been some rumors out there that maybe Mike Vrabel will want to bring in somebody else in the front office, but I had to make a point here. He mentioned several times that he worked with Elliott Wolf throughout this entire interview process. He has talked with Elliott Wolf and Elliott Wolf's staff about building this roster and what he's able to do and how many checks can he sign this season. So now knowing that Elliott Wolf is going to be in the mix of things, I think Vrabel is going to have a say in who signs with the New England Patriots moving forward. And when Vrabel wants to bring in new players and build this roster, I think that's only going to increase the trust that you're going to have with this head coach. And he said, we don't always want to be on the same page with building a roster or being in the front office. He said, that's not the environment we want to create, but we want to have a shared vision. We're going to have diverse ideas, and that's critical. And to have Mike Vrabel say that, look, I'm not going to agree with everybody all the time, but as the head coach, I want to say in it, my ideas matter as well. The players, the coaches, the front office, they're all going to have the same vision, which is we want to win football games. And right now for the Patriots' opportunities, Mike Vrabel has endless opportunities with an offensive coordinator, $130 million in cap space in a top 5 NFL draft pick, and you already have head coaching experience with Mike Vrabel, which is what you didn't have with Gerard Mayo. You can now adhere that to other veterans in the league and say, look, we're going to create a winning culture here in New England. We're going to bring back the dynasty. This is what I can offer you. He's already had several conversations with players on the team. He said he didn't mention who we talked to yet, but we can probably go on ahead and guess he's talked to the franchise of his future, and that is future of his franchise. That is Drake Maye. Drake Maye, he wants to build around him. He wants to help Drake Maye's development moving forward. He's already talked to the veterans and David Andrews and Joe Cardona, your Pro Bowlers, your captains on your team. And something else that I really liked what Mike Vrabel said is that the next week he plans on calling guys that are in rehab, that are on the IR, that are trying to find their way back onto the field, and he wants to ask him, how can I help? How can I help transition from last season to this season? What can I do? And I think that just kind of puts the head coach on a more human level. Just talk to me like a friend. How you doing? Where are we at? Don't put a timeline on it. Just make sure we're good to go. And if you guys want to be in the know with what Mike Vrabel's doing and how this offseason is going to change, go on ahead, hit that sub button for me. Look, like I just said, $130 million in cap space, a top 5 NFL draft pick, and we're still looking for an OC. There are so many new and exciting things coming to New England. I want you guys to be a part of it. Hit that sub button. Join 20,000 loyal Patriots fans right here on this channel. Let's talk about the offensive coordinator for a minute. Alex Van Pelt obviously got the boot 15 minutes after Gerard Mayo did after their final win of the season. But DeMarcus Covington is still the defensive coordinator in New England. I don't know why. I'm going to be quite frank. I thought they should have booted him. They should have cleaned house, gotten rid of DC, OC, and the head coach. But with Mike Vrabel, he may still have a say in changing that defensive coordinator. But let's talk about the OC right now. That is the actual missing piece that we have with Mike Vrabel. And he pretty much said offensive and defensive coordinators are far from solidified. So we do not know it's going to be Josh McDaniels right off the rip. I'm sure he's going to be a candidate. I think he should be a candidate. Rob Gronkowski thinks he should be a candidate, but more on that later. And with the defensive coordinator, hate to break it to you, DeMarcus Covington, your job's not safe. I think he can be a good DC, but you ranked bottom of the barrel last year in defensive statistics. I'm not really going to put my neck out there to keep you around. But what Mike Vrabel is looking for in a defensive coordinator and an OC is he wants them to teach the players, not just come out here and coach them. Anybody can blow a whistle and point their fingers, but teach the guys. You just saw the picture I brought up. Mike Vrabel puts the freaking pads on and gets in there and has these reps with these guys. He wants them to develop. When you have a 23-year-old at quarterback, you have so much room for developing the future and bringing in more success. And then inspire by making connections. Vrabel said, I don't want to pass him in the hallway and give a head nod. I want to stop him in the hallway. Make sure you're doing good. Make sure we're on the same page. Ask how your family is. Just make sure that they can come to me with a wide open door and say, I want to do this, or I don't think we should do that. Continue making connections and set a standard for these guys. And that doesn't mean go back to the plane and play cards with them after you just got smoked 30-17. Gerard Mayo. That means you do your job, but you still have a connection with these guys. And DeMarcus Covington, as the defensive coordinator, if he does stay, I'm sure we'll see some growth just because Mike Vrabel tends to be a defensive-minded guy. But I think DeMarcus Covington should get the boot. Once again, more videos on that later. Who should Vrabel hire as Patriots offensive coordinator? I know a lot of you guys are going to say Josh McDaniels. If you feel that way, go on ahead. Put it in the comment section down below. If you guys think another candidate, let me know. Last but not least, we've got to talk about Drake Maye. He is the reason I watch the Patriots every single Sunday. That is what I get paid to do. But nonetheless, Drake Maye. It's really important that the head coach comes in and is very gentle and cautious with Drake Maye, but also pushes him as hard as he's ever been pushed before. Vrabel said, we will have to be a very efficient passing football team. Thank God. With Ramondre Stevenson, who I personally think you should shop this offseason because he led the league in fumbles, you have got to put the ball in the air. When you have Drake Maye, who has one of the strongest arms in the rookie class, and you had very little explosive passing plays for Drake Maye this last year, you have got to structure your passing game. But it starts with the front line. Yes, we had no targets, but we definitely had no protection either. And he noted several times he's going to put great people around Drake Maye. I don't know if he's hinting at maybe trading for an A.J. Brown. I don't know if that means going out and getting Tyreek Hill or signing T. Higgins. Or maybe that means going to get Trey Smith or Cam Robinson to provide Drake Maye with some protection. Thank God he's mobile, or else he would have led the franchise in sacks this last season. And speaking of protection, Vrabel said he wants to make sure we're strong up front. Whether it's through free agency or the draft, Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks Jr., that's something that's critical. Mike Vrabel has played both sides of the football. He knows how important it is to have a strong line. I have mentioned before, one of my top free agents in the free agent market is Cam Robinson. Why? Christian Darrisaw is coming back. You got to get this guy some muscle up front. You got to get him a target. You got to get him something that's going to allow him to have more than 2.8 seconds in the pocket to throw, whether it's Trey Smith, Cam Robinson, or my grandma. I don't give a shit, but for the love of God, you have got to put somebody with experience on the front line for Drake Maye, and that is in Vrabel's future. And now that he has a little bit of leverage being a former head coach and being a former player, I think he's going to know exactly what to say to get somebody to come to New England. But who should that player be? The reason why we have Patriots Today by Chat Sports, I talk, you talk, then we talk about it. Who should Mike Vrabel sign to New England this offseason? Go on ahead and let me know. As always, hit that like button if you guys love the Patriots, you're excited for the future, you're excited for Mike Vrabel, and if you haven't already, you want all the information, go on ahead and hit that sub button for me.